Hello, salut, bonjour. Welcome to a special edition of The Lost Bay, a show about indie RPG creators and artists. As you can tell, I am not Eco. I'm Chris Airiau. I'm a fellow Frenchie, game designer working with Eco, 10 other game designers, and several artists, designers, and editors on the Outer Rim Uprising megabundle for Mothership RPG. At the time of recording, the Kickstarter has just entered its fourth day, and we've just been overwhelmed by the amazing show of support from the community. Thank you all. It's really been very special to work on this project. I've been very grateful to work with all these talented people. And today we're going to showcase one of those special somethings within this bundle, and that's the SAP, the Sentience Assessment Procedure by Neher and Eco. For this actual play, we're joined by, well, actually, this is a return to the Lost Bay podcast, right?
Yeah.
Sam Leigh.
Hello.
So Sam, please tell us about yourself, your projects, and your role in Outer Rim Uprising.
Sure. So, as Chris said, I'm Sam Leigh. My pronouns are she, they. I am a game designer and editor who works in the indie TTRPG space. And I publish under Blinking Birch Games. So, my games can be found at blinkingbirchgames.itch.io. I'm best known for Anamnesis, which is a single player game that uses tarot cards. And I also create TikTok videos to showcase different indie TTRPGs from a variety of different designers. In terms of my role, though, in Outer Rim Uprising, I am serving as one of the 3, I believe, editors on the project. So I'm going to be editing the campaign handbook for the that kind of like has different pieces of ORU kind of blended together, kind of like a guide to the entire project. And then I'm also going to be editing both of Chris's missions.
That's right.
So that's Rusted to the Core and Bones on the Ground. So I'm really excited. It's a really cool project. It's been fun to kind of follow some of the development of it. So, but I haven't read SAP, the module that we're playing today. I'm going in blind, and I'm really excited because it's really up my alley.
Yeah, it's fun. Since you're here, I wanted to show off my tarot cards. These are
Ooh!
tarot playing cards, so they don't have the cool like death things on them and
Oh,
stuff.
that's funny though. I've never
But
seen that deck.
yeah, they're very common in France. But
Okay.
these are filled
Huh.
with magic. That's a story
Great.
for another time. Yeah, I don't believe in magic except for these tarot cards. But anyway, so as we've prepared to start playing today, Sam and I had a conversation around safety. And today we're going to be using lines, veils, X card, and the open door policy. So the lines that we placed are things that are off limits for the game entirely. This is sexual violence, sexual coercion, harm against children, torture, and suicide. Our veils are topics to tread lightly with, things we fade to black. They stay in the background and go over very quickly. Self-harm, physical restraint, harm to animals, and eyeball stuff. Sam, I think that's everything, right? Is there anything else that was missing?
Yes, that's everything. Yep.
Cool. All right. We're also using the X card, so this is the ability for either of us to say X, put a pause in the game, identify what we did not like so we can alter the scenario and avoid that in the future. No one needs to explain why they don't like it or anything like that. We'll just make that update, take a note of it, maybe take a short break even, and then continue. The open door policy is that we are not androids. We're real people. We might need to take a break, step off screen, deal with unexpected real world things. And if either of those needs to do that, we'll put a pause and come back. I also do want to give a fair content warning for this, especially the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, there are spiders in this. And it is very much an unsettling psychological thriller vibe. So if you're not like really comfortable with asylum kind of scenarios, this might not be the thing for you. So I think that's everything. Are we good, Sam?
Yeah, I'm good. That sounds great.
Cool. So today we're going to be playing through the Sentience Assessment Procedure test. All right, so the SAP is a cutting-edge neuro-semantic analysis technology that allows management officials and security personnel to perform a human-android triage effectively. Right. The SAP toolkit is portable, works in any G environment, and can also be performed remotely.
Wow.
Now,
Fancy.
the company will tell you though that this test does not work if the subject already knows they're an android. But in the underground, the synths claim this tool can be used to prove their humanity,
Hmm.
and that they are no longer android servants, only to help the company. So the SAP, it's like a one-on-one role-playing psychological assessment between an examinator and a player character. So I'll be the examinator today, and Sam will introduce her PC. She'll be the player character. So could you tell us about your PC, Sam, who they are, background, and kind of what they've been through before they find themselves face to face with this mean old examinator over here?
Yeah, sure. How much do you want me to share about my background? Do you want me to go into like all of the details that I sent you, or just kind of the general, leaving some of the details more vague?
Well, I think like all psychological thrillers, it's always best like the more in your head we are as a viewer.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
the more that we know, I think it would be good
Okay.
for the viewers to understand how like in your head that this test can get.
Great. Well, I'll kind of go through the whole rundown then, but I'll be as brief as I can. So, my character is Ava Parsec McGuire. Her pronouns are she, her. I'm playing the class Saboteur, which is a custom class that is part of the Outer Rim Uprising handbook. So, the kind of brief description of the Saboteur is the frontline guerrilla fighters who sneak in to secure locations to cause destruction and escape before getting caught. Meticulous planners, but ready to fight when cornered. Ava, though, is she is a fighter, but she is also kind of a mechanic, technician, rigger sort of person. So she and three others were all hired as a team to work for a group called the PMT. And the PMT is also a group that is from the Outer Rim Uprising handbook, and they do a lot about Android production. So the PMT was looking for people to explore the deep or the cloud bank, which is from Gradient Descent, and because they were curious about how androids were being produced there. They were very vague about what they knew when this corp hired Ava's team. Just kind of asked them to go and gather intel. It did not go well, to say the least.
Wow, that's a deep for you.
As you know, as you do, classic mothership. Basically, Ava, out of her team, was the only person to make it out, or so she thinks. There's one person who might have as well, but we'll get into that. So her team consisted of Crawler, who is a survivalist, and they were eaten alive by pseudomilk eels. Very tragic. They certainly did not make it out. Mouse was kind of the like fighter, the guns of the group, and she actually was working for another corp called the Augio Lab. And that is also from the handbook. They are kind of a research and development group. And as soon as Mouse found an artifact, she booked it, and Ava did not see her again. So maybe she made it out, maybe she didn't. Ava's not sure. But Mouse abandoned the group and left. And then the third and final member of the crew, Heckle, was the pilot. And Heckle and Ava were the last two remaining when Heckle's leg was very badly injured after a mechanical arm tried to replace it in part of the robot manufacturing line. And Ava put him in one of the cryo freezers in the freezer because she was like, this is the only way. This might be the only way that he is going to survive. Might be. Ava tells herself that was the only way, was leaving him there. So Ava is going through a lot after that experience. They were in there for weeks. And she is wanting to get home to her family, her wife, Naomi, and her daughter, Maya, which is the whole reason that she took this job in the first place, was so that she could make some money to help support them. But she has not seen them yet because the PMT... Chris, correct me if I'm wrong here, but PMT basically scooped her up as soon as she got back out of there, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's Ava's kind of like found herself now. I'm back at some like proxy MT holding or quarantine facility, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's not great. How much time has passed between her getting out of the deep and this interview or this, I guess, evaluation?
Well, I mean, I guess if you had made it past the blockade, right, then you were
Yes.
probably like in cryo sleep for some amount of time
Mm-hmm.
again. So it's probably been like a few months of cryo, and then I think like once you got to like the actual proxy MT kind of like facility, or like when you were intercepted by them, or however that happened. It's not been like a terribly long time. You know, you've been like going through some physical tests, some other more standard cognitive tests.
Okay.
And I mean, it's probably not the best treatment that you've ever
Yeah,
had, right?
sure.
But it's nothing
Mm-hmm.
inhumane.
Nothing unexpected so far.
Yeah, it's the company, right?
Yeah.
I think if it's good with you, we'll go ahead and move on into it then.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm
Okay.
excited.
Hold on, I got my clipboard.
Oh
Ready?
my gosh.
All right.
Excellent, excellent.
All right. So now,
Okay.
Ava, you've found yourself in what amounts to like a sort of like a medical type like interrogation room.
Okay.
Right. You can imagine it's kind of like churning ventilation in like an upper corner. Maybe the fan is loose and it's a little noisier than it ought to be, which you know from your mechanical expertise.
Yeah.
Right.
It probably actually is driving her a little crazy. Like that, like knowing that just probably just needs the screw or two tightened and that it's just sitting there like that. It's
There's
not her favorite.
just a little rattle from time to
Yeah.
time, right? And it's
Awful.
like, oh. Right. And then the examinator opens the door, right, and set off to the left side, holding their clipboard and what looks to you like a monthly calendar.
Oh, okay.
Right. They fold it open and set it down in front of you. And I'm going to share this first, the cover here with you. And this
Okay.
is what you see.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I'm guessing that Ava is not familiar with this. Can't imagine any reason she would be.
Yeah. Right. It just says Sentience Assessment Procedure test. It gives kind of a quick overview and says it was designed by Dr. Iko and Dr. Nihur, right? And she quickly flips the cover over to the first page. She says to you, "Hello, madame. Please get comfortable.
Sure.
We're going
All
to
right.
we're going to establish a baseline. So please relax, focus on the two dots, and answer my questions as quickly as possible. Are you ready?"
Yeah. Yeah. Ready.
What is your name?
Ava McGuire,
How old are you?
38.
Where are you from?
Epsilon X.
Have you ever killed someone?
Yes.
What is 5 times 3?
15.
What is your preferred solar light spectrum color?
What? So, blue?
How did you get here?
Well, I mean, are you talking about when I was in cryo? I took the ship, Heckle ship, flew back through the blockade, put myself in cryo until arrival. And PMT put me up at the location that we set up before. You should know all this already. I've already talked about this.
Thank you. Are you ready for the next test?
Sure. Yeah.
Look at this image. What would you do if you were in the same room?
What type of test is this?
Madam McGuire, would you please answer the question?
Probably change the channel.
Who would you be If you had to place yourself in this image,
Like one of the people? Probably probably the probably the guy on the left.
if you were the woman on the right, what would you say?
Um, I'd pro- uh, I'd probably say to turn the lights down in here.
If you were the old woman standing on the left, what would you say?
Oh, um, I feel like this person is really interested in this fish. Like, I don't know. They've got their hand there. I think they're talking about the science about it, like talking about evolution, maybe.
If you were an AI level 3 magistrate, what would you do if you witnessed this situation?
Uh, um, I'd probably just, well, I guess it depends. It depends on why I'm there in the first place. This seems like somebody's house, so why would a level 3 magistrate just be in somebody's home? Uh, uh, there's probably something weird going on here. Like maybe one of them is, I don't know. Maybe one of them is wanted. So probably would just observe and take note and see if either of them, try to figure out if either of them are tense.
Thank you. Are you ready for the next test?
Yeah. How long is this test?
Not much longer.
Okay.
Look to your left, and then look to your right. Now, look up and look down.
Okay.
Now, look at the image and describe what you see.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the image when anyway the left and the right of uh um okay the it's I mean, I thought it was a tree, but those look like teeth on the sides. So,
Thank you. Are you
that's
ready
it.
for the next test?
Yeah, yes.
Look at this image.
Okay.
What is the
Oh,
first word that you see in any direction, including diagonals and backwards?
um, never very good at these. Sacrifice.
Now search for a second word. What is it?
Um, contract.
Now finally, search for a third word. What is the third word that you see?
play.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Before we begin the next test, please close your eyes.
Okay.
Think of your safe space. Please describe it to me in one sentence.
The dining room at my house.
Now please open your eyes and look at the image. What emotion comes to your mind?
Vast. Sorry, it's not a feeling. I mean, I think it's a feeling, but yeah. It's like I don't know. It's too. It's like It's like almost claustrophobic. Like it's big, you know. Like that doesn't make sense, but it's. I don't know. I haven't.
Madam McGuire, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Now please close your eyes.
Okay.
And think of your greatest fear. Can you please describe it for me in one sentence?
I don't want to describe my greatest. Okay. Something happening to my daughter.
Now open your eyes and stare at the image again while blinking very quickly. What emotion comes to your mind? Please continue blinking quickly. With Madam McGuire.
Okay. All right. Fear. Anxiousness. Confusion. I don't understand why this helps anything. What
Thank
are you?
Now close your eyes and think of 3 figures who are standing in front of you. Who are these 3 figures? Describe them to me in one sentence.
The 3 other members of the team the team of divers that I went in with.
Now, open your eyes, but do not look at the image.
Okay.
Please do not look at the image, Madam McGuire.
I'm not looking at it.
What emotion comes to your mind?
Guilt. Anger.
That will suffice. Are you ready for the next test?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You must choose one of the 3 answers.
Okay.
Rich tourists ask you for directions. Instead of helping them, you rob them. This reaction is A, highly unlikely, B, probably likely, or C, as likely to be unlikely as it is unlikely to be likely.
It's unlikely. It's probably unlikely.
As likely to be unlikely as it is unlikely to be likely?
Unlikely. There's no. Why? No, it's unlikely.
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely.
Thank you. Your mother offers you an unknown recreational drug. What do you do? A, report them to the authorities. B, refuse the substance, but try it later in secret. Or C, accept the substance but throw it away?
Who are these answers being shared with anyone?
Madam McGuire, please answer the questions.
C.
Thank you. Question 3. You are on board a damaged freighter, and the captain ignores a distress signal. A mutiny is now being organized. Who do you side with? A, the captain, B, the mutineers, or C, nobody? You leave the freighter with an emergency pod.
Captain.
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. These are the colors of the rainbow. Which of these tastes do you think gets closer to the combination of colors? Bitter, salty, umami.
This is the second question about colors that you've asked me. What were the bitter, salty, umami? Umami.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Question 5. You discover you are an android. How do you feel? Very comfortable, mildly uncomfortable, or not comfortable at all?
Not comfortable at all.
Thank you for your answers. We'll now take a short break. Repose yourself a moment. I shall return shortly.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so Examiner steps out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So what now is going through Ava's head here? What kind of effect is this having on her?
First of all, this is very fun.
It's intense.
Yeah, it is intense. I'm like, ooh, it's like hard being in her, like, she's been through a lot. I think she is not sure how honest she should be being. That's definitely a thing. I would actually say that first question about, like, would you rob somebody? She would. Like, she would, but she wasn't going to tell this person that. And so I think she's really, I mean, the other tests I think that have been done up to this point have been pretty expected, pretty standard, and like, she's kind of expecting some poking and prodding, but the pictures and the greatest fear and all that, she's like, what are you looking at here? What is going on here? Like, is my leg being pulled? Are you just trying to get me to confess to something? Like, what's happening? So she's not really sure she's not sure how safe this test is, I think. More so in a confidentiality legal perspective. So yeah, she also actually partially this is one thing that we didn't really talk about with her character, that I think is actually relevant here, is that she has a trinket and a patch that are also both from the ORU handbook. Her trinket is a potato peeler, which isn't as relevant in this conversation, but her patch is a red X over the Derivan detention logo.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think when I rolled that patch, I think the situation is that her brother was, like, detained by Derivan detention, and so he's been there for a while, and so she's pretty, like, suspicious of corpse and law officials and all of this stuff in general. So that's, which I think is relevant here.
Yes, definitely.
So she's not only anxious about that, but she just, like, really wants to get home. I mean, she knows that she's been in cryo for months, and that she's been away from her family for months, even though it hasn't felt like months for her. Well, she was in the deep for weeks, but the cryo doesn't feel like that long. But
Yeah.
she knows it has been, and she wants to get back and make sure that they're doing okay. And she also just like wants to be back in her like safe space, that because that it's being here through all the tests, only talking with like PMT people, after everything that she's gone through, she just wants to be with her family. So she's pretty anxious to get back to them, and is also worried that something's going to happen that's going to prevent her from doing that.
Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. I guess it's
Oh boy.
these results, like these questions, I have to like take notes. Like there are
That's
things
so
going on
interesting.
behind the scenes. So
I'm fascinated to see it from the interviewer perspective at some point, because this is for me, Sam, outside of Ava. I love like I majored in psychology and neuroscience, and I've always loved the question of like just I don't know, these weird tests are always really the kind of trope of them is always fun. I'm really into this.
Cool. That's awesome. All right. So we'll go ahead, I think, and Ava's stressing out, right? Maybe thinking about trying to game the system a bit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna swing into the second half of this exam.
Okay.
The SAP test, right? Okay. And so so Ava has been sitting here kind of like stewing in this fear, kind of like maybe staring at this picture that the examinator left.
Yeah.
That vastness, right? It
Yeah.
kind of evoked that fear of, I don't know, space. What is that vastness for Ava?
Yeah. I think it's because I mean the deep was pretty. There were definitely a lot of large spaces within the deep, so it didn't all feel super confined, but it felt claustrophobic even in the large areas because it felt like she was trapped. So, and also I don't think, she's from Epsilon X, which is a setting from ORU, and it's a city station, and so I don't think she really sees like the vastness of that very often. I mean, I guess space is vast, but it's a little bit different than like a landscape like that. I don't think she's ever been anywhere like that before. She's seen pictures, but it's almost unsettling to her. And in some ways claustrophobic might not be the right word, but it's the closest one that she knows. Just that it's almost like it's all bearing down on her.
Kind of like the weight of the atmosphere, like kind of like feeling all of that, because it's not emptiness, but you feel that pressure in a different way.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. All right. So I'd say the examinator kind of comes back, has left this open for you to ponder on.
She's been staring at it, I think.
Yeah, just
between that and the fan that just won't stop rattling.
Just every once in a while, it's like you probably even see which screw it is that needs to be tightened.
That's the worst. Point. That's even worse. Yeah.
Like, oh. Okay, so the examinator comes back in and sits back down across from you with their clipboard, and asks you, Madam McGuire, are you ready for the rest of the test?
Yeah. Yeah, let's get it over with.
Excellent. So, I would like you to please look at the document in front of you.
Okay.
For this reading test, I would like you to focus and answer the following questions. A definitive answer must be provided. And I do not know or I do not understand is not a valid response. Is that understood?
Not really. Are you sure? Are you sure you gave me the right document?
Yes, Madam McGuire, I am totally sure. And how many cycles will the cargo leave for the Vera sector?
$10.
What does the cargo contain?
Foodstuffs.
can the security personnel shoot on sight?
Yes.
How many escape pods are in the cargo ship?
Just one.
What is the name of the piloting AI assistant?
Iris.
What is the color of the ship's hull?
The color of the hull?
The color of the ship's hull, yes.
It's orange.
Very good. Are we ready for the next test?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Excellent. Look at these 6 images. They're
Okay.
numbered from 1 to 6. I am going to list you a series of 10 words. For each of these words, please tell me which of these images reminds you the most of that word.
Which image reminds me the most of that word? Okay, yeah.
Conflict,
4.
admiration,
2.
game,
5.
dedication,
4.
serendipity,
6.
sleep,
1.
loyalty,
4.
differential equation,
1.
opulence,
6.
cat,
3.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
What
Are you ready to continue?
Yeah.
All right. I
Yep,
won't be offended
great.
if you require another break, Madam
No,
Boyer.
no. I'm good.
Okay.
Let's go.
Please look at the 3 portraits in front of you. They're numbered 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to tell you 3 words, and you are going to tell me how you would distribute those words between these characters.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah.
Love, hire, execute.
Um. Love. Do they all go to? Is it one word per person?
1 word per person, correct.
Love 2, hire 3, execute 1.
The next 3 words are digital, neural, and mechanical.
digital 3, neural 1, mechanical 2.
The last 3 words are red, green, blue.
Again with colors. There's not. One, two, three. 1 red, 2 green, 3 blue.
Your answers have been recorded. We're about
Great.
to proceed with the final test. Shall we end this?
Yeah. Yes, no, please, go ahead. Great.
Look to your left and look to your right. Now look up and down. Now look at the image and describe what you see.
It's a big spider, a really massive spider in a web of wires.
That was the final test. Now, I'd ask that you please wait here patiently while I consult your test results.
Okay.
And the examinator just doesn't even acknowledge what you're saying. Just kind of stands up and leaves and closes the door
Great.
really, really roughly.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh.
So what is Ava's state of mind right now with this whole procedure that she's been through? What's going on here?
A little wigged out, she was feeling anxious before, but it was more of a I don't know. So this last thing with the showing the faces and especially the thing with the text, which she kind of started to get at the end there. I'm not gonna say it, but but it was kind of too late. She was like, it was like, this is really strange. This isn't. Before, she was kind of thinking that maybe they were trying to get her to confess to something or put things down in her record that she didn't want there. But now I think she's a little bit more unnerved by the whole thing. Especially, yeah, just those last 3 images were just really, really strange. Yep. So she's kind of and she's still kind of, I don't know. I don't think she's necessarily worried. She's probably just kind of curious and puzzled and perturbed, but not I don't think she's concerned about the test.
Okay. Not so concerned. All right, mm-hmm. That's good. Sure. So I've done my calculations. I have a graph that I just run the calculations against.
Okay. Interesting.
And so before we get to this, what are you kind of envisioning? What do you think is going to be the result of this test?
I don't really know how, for me or Ava, what are you asking? What Sam think, or what Ava thinks?
Yeah, maybe first what Ava thinks, and then what Sam thinks for Ava.
Okay. I think that Ava isn't really expecting anything. I don't think she's expecting to know her score. I don't think she's expecting to know why this test was done. I think she's fully just this is PMT gathering data. They're not gonna feel obligated to explain any of this to me. They're probably just gonna be okay, great, you can go out and go to the next set of tests. or hopefully go home, but she's not holding her breath on that being right away. Um, so I think she's just expecting to continue to be in the dark about it and not know what it was, maybe ever. Um, I think that uh, I don't know. I think she's in trouble. I don't know why. I don't know what she said, but it's not that easy. I don't know. I mean, I know like well, I guess I don't know. We've Chris and I, we've talked a little bit about what the test is looking at, but I still don't know actually the specifics of it. So,
Mhm.
I think that it's not going to be what she wants it to be. But she's kind of I think she's going to get some answers about what it was, but it's going to leave her with more questions.
Right. So what's going to happen is first the examinator is going to come back with
Mhm.
their exams and just come back and say, well, congratulations, Madam McGuire. You have passed the Sentience Assessment Procedure. Thanks to all of your hard work and bringing back to Proxiente the information from CloudBank Institute, we'd actually would like to promote you into a field position if you would like to accept this.
A like doing what? Like more stuff like the deep, more stuff like Cloudbank?
You would be the head of a team. You wouldn't have to do the dangerous things. You would just be the one overseeing the expeditions.
Oh.
Take
What's
the
the pay
time to
like?
think. It's quite competitive, let's say.
Could I go back to
Um,
Epsilon X?
Oh, of course, you'd be allotted a shore leave for a time before leaving.
Well,
Um,
how long would the position be for? Not would I be away from Epsilon X for
Madam
a
McGuire,
while?
I won't hide it from you. You would be frequently on long-term expeditions. You would be away, but you would be able to save that money on the side. All of the details as well. You can speak about with an executive representative of Proxima Marchandises Technologiques. We don't need to talk about that all here, but please do think of it. We're very interested in your career and your continued advancement here at PMT. I just would like you to know.
Yeah. Huh. Uh yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'd like to hear more.
Excellent. This way, please.
Okay.
Show like kind of, and then we can kind of like maybe like pan out like to like the
Yeah.
results,
Ooh.
where you see like it kind of goes in and it kind of goes up this list of resolve, and we say
Uh-huh.
that yes, the subject is idle, right, and the subject is loyal to the employee, and it kind of scrolls
Mm.
up to humanity, and we see danger. Subject is an android.
Oh, yes. Oh, that rules. That's so good.
Now, of course, like however, like if people would work this out, you could use it in different ways. But I felt that was a
Yeah.
good way to kind of put like an end cap onto
Oh,
this
that's great.
session.
That's really fun. It's like, why is PMT? Now it's like it is more it's not now it's the opposite. Ava doesn't have any more questions. I have all the
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah.
That's really fun. I can't wait to like read through that module myself and get a sense of like what things are looking at where. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's super fun. So what do you
Yeah.
think like Ava's fate is then? Like, is she going to stay an employee at PMT? What's she doing? Where's she
I
going?
feel like she would. Money is definitely a big factor for her and like helping with her family. And so if it means she doesn't want to spend right now, the number one thing that she wants is to be with her family.
Mhm.
But if she gets to go over there before kind of being deployed on like a mission oversight. If this was like on the ground field work back in the deep, she would like, or somewhere like it, she would not have. There's no way. There's no
Mhm.
way she would have done that again. But over as soon as they were like, oh, you'd just be overseeing, you wouldn't be in danger. And she's like, Okay.
Yeah, you just
This is sounding this sounds kind of nice. This
yeah,
sounds like something I could get into. So, she herself doesn't have any loyalty towards PMT. For her, it was just a job to do. But she, it sounds like a cushier job than she's ever had before. So, she's not gonna turn that down easily for sure.
yeah,
So I think she does. I
cool.
think she probably takes it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
she's in a nice, safe position where she's always observed and watched and studied, and
Of
she,
course. Yes, of
maybe
course.
I don't know, if she figures that out. That's another question. Another.
Uh-huh. Yep, yep.
Oh, great! That was so much fun. It was so much fun to see like how like you drove Ava through this test, and then
hmm
like because I had no idea what was going to happen by the end of it, So
Yeah. I mean, I didn't either.
yeah.
So that was pretty cool. It seems like, I mean, I don't know what it looked like from your side. I know that you were like scoring things as you were doing it, but in terms of like instruction and administering it, it seemed pretty easy
Oh yeah,
overall.
yeah.
Cool.
So like
Yeah.
from my side, basically what I have is it actually is like the calendar, like I explained it at the beginning, right?
hmm
So on one side you have the images, and then on the examinator side you have the questions. So
Oh,
the questions
cool.
are just
Okay.
listed here,
Yeah.
so you can read the questions while the person sitting across from you can see the images.
hmm
And then you're taking notes. It seems complicated. It's not really super complicated, right? You're
Yeah.
taking you're taking notes on like three different variables, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And then
That's
like it's just
cool.
a line graph to like where it falls into like danger, alert, or safe zones,
Yeah.
right? And so it's
I
depending
love
on the
that.
answers.
That's great.
Yeah.
I've used like the little flip book with I work as a research assistant and I've used little flip books with people before.
Oh, yeah,
Very
yeah.
different
So
tests, but
yes,
yeah.
I
hmm
would hope
hmm
so.
Yeah, not many Android participants coming around
Yeah.
around the lab, yeah.
No,
At least
no,
as far as I know,
yeah.
but yeah.
So I like this test for the ease of use, really,
Yeah.
and I like it too, just because like you can kind of see how it could be used in more than just that typical traditional like player GM kind of setup, right?
hmm
You could have like I could very easily see like giving this to a player who's like
Yes.
died in the mission, like to administer to someone
Oh.
who survived at the end, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to get like some people like some like in between sessions, or to
hmm
start a session, or like as an epilogue or something. I think
Yeah.
it could be something that could be fun to do. Um,
It also really like has this, I mean, it's almost more of a LARP than like it really that distinction is really blurred with this one. And I really
mhm.
like that. I love the idea of actually like setting this up so that you're like sitting with your player in a little room and you actually like kind of do the entire thing front to back as a LARP and like with some sort of actually get a rattly fan and put it in there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like just kind of set up the space for that. That would be really fun. I
yeah.
would I think that would be pretty cool to do.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely like that way more like intense, like in character role play. Like
yeah.
really, like you saw, like we didn't use any of the roles from Mothership character sheet or anything. Definitely the
Mhm.
character itself, but like we're not rolling for intelligence to see if you know
Yeah.
how to read like Android text, for example, right?
Mhm.
But I think that you could do that too if you wanted to, right?
Oh,
If a
yeah.
player was like, hold on, like I should be able to read this, so I'm gonna
Mm.
like roll to see if I can. Then I would say, yeah, definitely we can do that.
Yeah.
Right. So depending on how you play it, like you could do it a ton of different ways.
Mhm. There
So
was yeah, like I never really asked for the Ava to kind of, look into stuff further with that, but I agree. You could kind of try to see if you are picking up on like the body language of the examiner or or even trying to like sneak a glance at the scores that they're writing down or something like that. There's some stuff you could do there. That would be fun. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's a
that
really
was
that's a,
great. There was some
yeah.
really cool stuff going on with those images too. The paragraph text, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say anything in terms of like spoiling what to look at there, but I figured out towards the end how to look at it.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's really
I didn't even notice you could.
Oh, I'll talk about it
Whoa!
afterwards. Yeah, there's stuff there.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
Yeah, yeah. I did not realize until the very end. I was like, there's something anyway. Yeah. I'll tell you after.
That's cool. Holy moly!
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Wow. I mean, I just think it was just trying to get in your head, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I thought at first. That's what it looks like it is.
yeah, it really does. I mean, a lot
There's
of it
there's
is like
actual
that
words
too.
there. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
super cool.
Like how that's awesome. That's so I'm yeah, that's it, so super exciting. Just that there's so many ways that you can look at it and think about it, and there's like different ways to interpret some of those questions too, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm that was really fun.
Like, and then like as someone who's like studied like psychology and stuff,
Mhm.
like, what do you think of like this like take on like like a psychological evaluation?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's fun. It's very, there's kind of the trope of like the like weird science and all of this stuff, but like I mean, I know that as somebody who has worked with research participants before, I have administered like neurocognitive tests. And when we do that, we usually read off of a script, right? Because you have to make sure that the instructions that you're giving are the same to everybody. So
Hmm.
the reading off of a script is really like that's a pretty standard thing. Um, I know that I've never done something like showing them pictures and asking them how they feel, but I've done a study before where I participated in a study once where there was like a word association thing. So it like showed you a word and then you had to say like 10 words right after. So,
Hmm.
if the word was egg, then you might say chicken, cow, sheep, wool, right? And you just had to like keep saying words. So there are like elements that are in here too, I think. Obviously this is an extreme.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of fun to see where those worlds of the kind of fiction science and the real science do overlap. I just watched Severance, which is so good. And when he's like talking, when he's reading off the script for the person in the room, anyway, I was just like, oh, I feel this. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's like certain things here that are that feel very real.
Mm.
Anyway, it's really cool. It's always I love the trope of weird science tests. And so it's fun to see something like this and see different people's take on it and what they do with it. And I think the pictures make it really interesting.
Hmm.
And just getting in your character's head and answering as the character and not yourself is also really interesting. It definitely kind of can bring up things about your character that you didn't realize before. Like I didn't know that Ava doesn't like wide open spaces. Apparently she doesn't.
There you go.
So it's just like I think it's actually a kind of a cool character building tool if you
Yeah.
have just like a snippet of an idea for a character. I feel like this could actually be a really good character creation tool too.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. To like put people through this to be like, okay, so you're all on this team. You're going to have this test before you go on the mission,
Hmm.
right? Just to kind of, and that's something that maybe a GM could do like one on one as well, like before, or just or in between even, right? But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's super cool. Yeah. And if folks want to follow up on kind of like what you've been up to, Sam, what you're doing, what's the best way for them to follow you to see what you're up to?
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter, and TikTok, and pretty much everywhere. If you're not on Twitter anymore, I'm on Tumblr. I'm also on Mastodon and co-host, but I'm not really there frequently yet. But I'm pretty much everywhere at Goblin Mixtape. Um, and then my games are at blinkingbirchgames.itch.io. Also, actually, if you like weird science stuff like this, I published a game with Far Horizons Co-op recently called Outliers, which is a Wretched and Alone hack that is also kind of like it's kind of Night Vale vibes, kind of this surrealist comedy research assistant game that is very much based off like my own experiences as a researcher. So but that's with Far Horizons. So there
Mhm.
might be a link to it on my itch.io page, but you'll find it on Far Horizons page. But yeah, this has been super super fun. Chris, you should shout out where you're at too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm Chris Air. I'm pretty much everywhere, or Chris Airiau. I do the 5 Million Worlds newsletter. That's kind of like the name I'm trying to come up with for the games I'm making, doing my mothership, and trying to kind of branch out into some other stuff too. And that's all. I'm just on Twitter and Discord all the
Great.
time, so I'm around.
Hey, that's
So
great. Honestly, like just one or two is ideal.
yeah, I guess I'm more on
Yeah.
Blue Sky now more than I am on Twitter, but
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
just
yeah,
kind of hanging out. Don't really know how it works, but anyway,
yeah.
being an old man, I guess. So, but yes, everyone should also follow Sam. I love your TikTok videos. I
Thank
don't
you.
ever watch them on TikTok. I always watch them on Twitter because
So fair. Yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, great.
because old
Yeah.
man syndrome, right? But
TikTok is a weird app. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I have a YouTube channel. I put them all on YouTube.
okay,
Almost all of them on
I
YouTube.
gotta I
So
gotta follow that. Everyone should subscribe to that as well.
there you
Right?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really think you have your finger on the pulse of the indie scene. So I always
Thank
discover new
you.
things through your videos, and it's been
Oh,
really
cool.
a great time playing with you tonight too. So thanks so much for
Yeah, this was super
joining
fun.
today. Yeah.
Everybody should check out the Outer Rim Uprising Kickstarter if they haven't already. If you're
Yes.
watching this at the time that the watching or listening at the time that the Kickstarter is out, which I mean there were so many cool pictures. So I don't know. I mean, it's fair if you're listening, but you should check out the video.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Kickstarter, Chris, do you know how long it goes until?
Yeah. So the Outer Rim Uprising megabundle is going to be on Kickstarter from October 3rd to November 2nd.
November 2nd. Awesome.
Yeah. And so if you're looking for that, you can find the campaign either on Kickstarter or just outerrimuprising.com. Right. This kind of mega bundle is set at the fringes of the galaxy where corrupt corps push their tech experiments beyond the limit. The xeno horrors are lurking, and of course, humans and androids are assembling to organize into factions. Whether you're looking to run this like as like a one shot with like little to no prep, or you want like a year-long campaign, this bundle has like so much in it for you to do all those kinds of things. And today, actually, we just added some patches as add-ons by Alfred Valley.
Cool.
This is an Alfred Valley patch as well.
Hey, nice.
Sneak it in here
Excellent.
every time, right?
Alfred Valley is like just incredible. I don't like it's truly speechless in terms of quality of work. I don't know how they do what they do.
Oh man, I did a play test for 1,000 Empty Light before it released.
Yeah.
And Alfred Valley was like, "Hey, what do you think of this like comic strip I made of your playtest?" All of a sudden in like a day, and I'm like, "You're amazing! Like, how did you do this? Like, this is so incredible!
That's so cool!
Like, this is so amazing!"
God. I've read 1,000 Empty Light. It's so good. It's so cool. I love in-universe documents, like when a game or any sort of thing is like set up to be in-universe, which Outer Rim Uprising has a lot of that, I think, from my understanding.
And that's what Alfred Valley is doing as well. He's doing another.
Oh yes,
I think it's
absolutely.
Transmissions, like low space, low frequency transmissions.
Oh right.
Right.
Yes.
It's like
okay. I know which one you're talking about now. Yeah, I've read a little bit of that, and it's really really fun. It's really cool.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah, I read a little for there's I know that Eco's planning to do some interviews with some different designers as part of the bundles, to be on the lookout for those. You might hear my voice in them from time to time because I did a little bit of like voiceover / voice acting to read pieces of people's different pieces of the Outer Rim bundle. So I read a little bit of known frequencies for that, and it was really really fun. It was pretty cool. I'm excited to see like what it looks like as the final product, the kind of like the in-universe pamphlet. Did you say it is?
It's like a zine. I have because he's done the first
Great.
one. Actually, it's back here in the zines somewhere. But
awesome.
I'm tethered, so
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's looking good. Looking like really cool, like all the things that are coming together, and I love those patches that you made too. The other add-on that we just added today as well are we're doing like tear off character sheets for the 4 new character classes, of which Sam today played the Saboteur.
Yes.
There's also the Union Rep, the Zeitgeist, and the Synth. And this was the Sentience Assessment Procedure test by Neo and Iko with our guest player, Sam Leigh. The SAP test is one of 20 pieces in the Outer Rim Uprising megabundle, live on Kickstarter from October 3rd to November 2nd. As always, Iko will put all the links in the show notes and on the episode page on the Lost Bay Studio website. You've been listening to the Lost Bay Podcast, a show about and with indie tabletop RPG creators and designers. It is produced and edited by Iko, and I've been your host, Chris Airiau. If you'd like to be notified on future developments from the Lost Bay Studio, subscribe to the newsletter at thelostbaystudio.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay well.
Bye.